Welcome once again, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining. Today, this webinar will be on real estate investment options for NRIs. But before getting into the details, let me just give you a brief intro about the community and what we are doing here and what is the mission that we are committed at. So, Back to India is a community for NRIs who are willing to move back to India at some point of time. And we are trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone outside of India to move back to India. And we are here to share our experiences and whatever information we know so that people who wants to. We have a website called returntoindiajobs.com. And for real estate, we are also thinking about new avenues, and this is one of our first steps towards it. We also have personal finance and other topics related endeavors as well. And for this, we've been doing a couple of webinars, group huddle sessions, all hands, even just chat sessions on our groups. So we do have like a Facebook group, which many of you, I believe, are part of. We also have a Telegram group. We also have multiple WhatsApp groups for many cities based out of India as well as US. So I believe all of you are aware of this, but if any of you do wants to join any of these groups, feel free to join at backtoindia.com. That's where you can sign up and you'll get the invites. So yes, just to set the stage, like I mentioned, this group is a very ad hoc one. It's not politically motivated, or we don't have any particular agendas other than to help you move back to India. This actually started back in 2017 end when I moved back from US to India and started out as a 24-hour project. But fast forward to 2021, it's grown out to close to 10,000 plus in terms of membership, and people from all over the world have joined us and are contributing to this cause. So it's all motivated by your passion and willingness to, make India great again. So I'm hoping that at some point of time we can trend the hashtag, the reverse brain drain hashtag that I've been promoting, because I know many of you guys, who've been in the 90s, been worried about this trend of brain drain from India, and we're trying to make that reverse, if at all possible, from our own mites. So this is the whole context of this community. So without much ado, I would like to get into the webinar. So like I mentioned, this is going to be on investment in real estate investment options for NRIs. And joining us today is Rizwan Ali. He's from Hyderabad, and he's lived in different cities across India, including Kochi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and he's very well versed with many of the real estate options there. So he's a good person to ask your questions and get clarifications on. But just to also chip in there while we are at this, is that we're actually in talks with many builders and real estate development agencies within India to make or find out what are the opportunities that are available today in India for NRIs, and what are the things that we should know of. So this is the first step, so to speak. We'll be having more options as we go ahead. And feel free to join our Telegram group. I will be sharing the link later in the chat discussion group, so that you can join and ask your questions there. But yeah, feel free to be candid with your questions and take this as a casual session where you can ask questions and get them answered, and as well share any information that you might have that we don't know. That's very much possible as well. So yes, without much ado, let's welcome Rizwan to the stage. Rizwan, please take over. All yours.
Hi everyone, Rizwan here. As Mani introduced, I am part of this community. I work very closely with Mani, and we've started these initiatives. Uh, Jobs being the first one which we have had started. It's took off quite well, and the next is real estate. Another, um, I wouldn't say burning issue, but another possible or very keenly looked upon vertical for all of us. So I would just give me a minute. Mani, can you enable the screen share so that I can share the PPT?
Sure, 1 second.
Yeah, got it.
You should have it now.
Yes, got it. Yes. So yes, this is what we thought we will start off with. This is the big question in everybody's mind after what we have gone through last year, and a lot of us are still going through this year as well. Is this the best time to buy a property in India? A lot of us have this question and um, doubt in our mind that is it the right time? So that's the basic idea of this webinar we plan to do. To start off with, I'll basically run you through. I'm sure most of you might know what it exactly is a real estate in India, but I'll just quickly run you through what how we define a real estate in India. So broadly, what we are all keen on is apartments and villas. So again, that is classified into under construction, ready to occupy, or resale. So these are basically there are two I would say two segments of apartments or villas. One is they call as a builder apartment, which is quite a basic structure with maybe 7 to 8 storied building if it's an apartment. And a builder villa or an independent villa is basically a villa or a house in a compound. That's about it. And then the second one, which comes in apartment slash villa, it's the gated community. So that is where we are all interested in, we are all keen on, and that's we've seen quite a lot of traction within this segment for people buying there and as an investment, and also for staying themselves. So this is basically the categorization for apartments and villas. Then when somebody looks at a real estate in India, they look at a land or a plot. So it could be a residential plot or a farmland. It could be again an independent residential plot, a piece of land somewhere, or a farmland somewhere in the outskirts. That is one which comes under land or plots. And another segmentation is again there are these new gated kind of plots which are there, wherein a big property, 4 or 5 acres of property is managed by a realtor, and he splits it into smaller plots, make is at a as a gated community, and he sells it with all the amenities inside. So that is again another option. And then there's a third option which a lot of us don't look into it, but then there are a very small segment of people who are keen on this as well, like office spaces, retail, warehouses. These are all picking up office spaces, like sharing office spaces, retail. There are malls coming up in the country, so there are people who buying shops and renting it out and all those things. So warehouses again another example. So this broadly, all these culminate into or formulate into what we call as real estate market in India. Now, to answer your question, to answer the question which we started with, is this the right time to buy property in India? So how can we say is it the right time? We've been lately seeing there's been quite a lot of boost by the government. Quite a lot of initiatives have been rolled out by the government. For example, the RERA, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. This is something which the government has formulated, and every state has to have it. So all the builders, all the real estate agents have to be registered within this authority or agency, so that everything is transparent. There is it's like a tribunal board for buyers and sellers. They can approach this authority if there is any dispute, any concern, any delay in construction. So as long as this is like a validation for you, you find a property which you like, you identify a builder to check if he's authentic, or you just have to see if he's registered with RERA, which is the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. The same goes out with the real estate agents as well. Whoever is approaching you to sell you a property or to buy a property from you, can always ask him for his RERA registration number and see if he's listed and authenticated. The next is GST, the Goods and Service Tax. That's a big boost. It's given to the industry, and that has helped quite a lot regulate the taxation, which was quite quite fluid earlier. Then there is something called as an enhanced liquidity in the banking system. So the banks have also become quite flexible with home loans, especially, and this is mainly because of the assurance given by the government and the Reserve Bank of India. And as buyers and investors, what we get this year especially is that there is a huge cut in interest of home loans, uh, and the least or the starting is at 6.7 percentage. There are banks starting at just 6.7 percentage home loan interest, which are going in, especially post COVID times. There is a huge builder discounts. Almost every builder is giving huge discounts per square foot or the total lump sum. So that is also another big bonus or plus for all the potential buyers or investors who are planning to invest in or buying a property in India right this year. Then a few states like Karnataka and Maharashtra, they've already reduced stamp duty charges in uh, they've already, yeah, I've seen a question. I'll just finish this and I'll answer you. So there is a reduction in stamp duty charges in Karnataka and Maharashtra as well. And as far as we know, the other states are also keen on following. We still don't know which all states are, but then there are a few other states who are in the process of doing this as well, just to boost in investments and move the real estate market up. That's the whole intention of all this. I've
Hey,
got a question.
just going to chime in there. All your questions, if you can maybe just post in the Q&A session, so Rizwan can pause in between and answer them in bunch. So please feel free to put your questions ahead of time and let it queue up so that we can pick and choose and answer them in batches. Rizwan, I hope that is okay with you. Sorry
Yeah,
to
that's fine.
bunch in, but yeah, go ahead. Great.
No worries. Fine, money. Yeah. So this lists down the benefits, or why is this the right time to look at buying a property. Whatever you have been keeping away your plans of buying a property in India, I think this would be the best time for you to reconsider and actually go ahead with it. Now, I'll just share another report, which was this was a survey conducted by one of the top real estate platforms across the cities of Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, and Hyderabad, predominantly the major metros or the major cities. So, as per their report, which came out, which they did last year, towards the end of last year. So, this definitely has considered the COVID situation as well. So as per them, there's been a lot of change which the industry saw last year with work from home being there, and then the earlier concept was stay, especially in the big cities in India, stay somewhere close to where you are working, or stay somewhere close to the CBD. So that was the concept earlier. Now all that is changing drastically because of the work from home concept. Now people are aware that it doesn't make much of a difference if you are near the office or away from the office. So people are looking at moving out from the central business districts, or the central areas, or around the main city centers, and they are okay to move out a bit and consider. So that is impacted quite a bit, opened up quite a bit. And if you see the results, 89% of the respondents think that 2021 is the best time to buy a property. So again, that shows that the buyer confidence is increasing, and it's quite high at especially this year. Out of this, again, 82 respondents are looking at buying a property this year. 63% of them would be in the range of 25 to 40. So these are predominantly the category of people who would have been staying on rent all these years. So they would have understood that the prices are down right now, and maybe another year or two it's going to come back to what it was, or go way beyond that. So they all would want to jump in and book their property and move in. Again, 57% of the buyers prefer to prefer investing in a ready to move in house or a new house. So there are quite a lot of properties around in India, entire country, which are ready to move in. Construction is all done. Um, so a lot of people are keen on just buying that and moving in. Again, 89% are planning to buy for own use. So that's a big shift, because earlier we used to see that quite a this percentage was very less, and the investment purpose buyers were quite high. I would say 3 to 4 years back. Now that's shifting. It's just 11% who are looking at buying at as a it as an investment purpose or an additional apartment, or multiple apartments. 89% are looking at buying for planning to buy for own use. Again, 61% of the respondents, they are looking at a community, a gated society where they can be assured of the security. There is power backup, there are amenities, there are parks, the supermarkets, everything is accessible. And the last point mentions that only 11%. Now, this has been another trend which we had seen in smaller cities or tier two cities, which we call as, or smaller towns, that, people buy a residential plot, they buy and invest in a residential plot. And as and when they feel that it is the right time to build a house, they build it. Now, that trend is slowly waning off. People, only 11 percentage are looking at buying a plot as such, because mainly the concern here is, especially for people like you who are not in the country, who are outside, to validate the legitimacy of the plot, the documentation. It is a huge task. And um, I have got cases, I've heard of cases wherein they have checked with two lawyers, three lawyers, they've gone to the village offices, got the documents, the old documents. Still, there are litigations which have come up, after they've paid the amount they built up. So that's a risk which is there associated or tied up with the residential plot. So that's why I think the buyers are looking at or slowly waning out from that, taking that risk, and putting their faith in reputed builders. So that's the trend. That's the report, the survey report, which says that. Now, I would say you would ask us that, okay, where do we invest? All right. Now you're saying that this is the right time to invest in India. All right. Now, where do we invest? What are the kind of places we're looking at? So we basically categorize the cities into tier one and tier two cities. So this is again done by one of the top real estate portals in the country. This is not our recommendation, or we've taken their recommendation. So the tier one cities right now are Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, Delhi, Ahmedabad, and Chennai. Hyderabad, definitely. I am based out of Hyderabad, and trust me, I'm seeing a huge influx of projects coming up, announcements being made, both residential and commercial. So, and it's not just announcements, but there are, I saw very few projects which were paused during the lockdown, except as soon as the lockdown was lifted, all the construction work had restarted, and uh, things are moving very fast in Hyderabad. Bangalore, again, the same. A lot of prominent builders, a lot of people think Bangalore is saturated, but no, Bangalore is still booming. There is a lot of, I would say right now, a lot of new projects have been announced. Things are moving. And also, the good thing is that the prices have come down. It's become more realistic, unlike how it was a couple of years back, wherein it was unimaginable to buy, or even look at buying a property in Bangalore. So things have come down price wise. It's very much competitive compared to the other markets as well right now. Pune, another, you might ask why Pune and not Bombay, because Bombay is still up there. Mumbai properties, it's still a dream for all of us. It still is. Pune is coming up quite in a big way. It is in the ranges of, it could match up the ranges of Hyderabad as well. So Pune is another option. Delhi is another option you can definitely look at. Ahmedabad, yes. Chennai again has always been a residential town. A lot of industries based out of there, and so that's these are the tier one cities. Tier two cities again are the ones which are coming up. Gurgaon, Noida are there mainly because of the size of the population. That's about it. Gurgaon, Noida were always there in the demand along with the Delhi. It's just that they've decided to put it as a tier two city only on the basis of the population. That's it. Coimbatore, Kochi, Goa, Jaipur, these are definitely attractive markets if you look at it. A lot of action happening there, a lot of developments coming up, projects being announced, not just residential, but industrial and growth wise also infrastructure as well. So these are few markets which you would want to uh, have a look at as well while considering to invest in India somewhere. Definitely closer to your hometown, wherever, but I'm sure these are places which you should definitely look at as well. Again, now that we've identified the top tier cities, now where exactly in these cities? Because each city is so huge that especially if you take Bangalore, Bangalore itself is has got so many smaller towns inside. It's become like and various satellite cities. So we need to be here to guide you where exactly is the hot area in within the tier one cities where you can really consider or look at properties to invest in. So in Hyderabad, if I say it is Gachibowli, Kukatpalli, Madhapur, these are the three top areas right now. Yes, the traditional areas of Banjara Hills, Begumpet, Secunderabad are there, but these three are the ones which are majorly attractive to the NRI community, basically because of the accessibility to gated communities, security, international schools, big supermarket chains, connectivity to the rest of the city. So that ways these areas are quite attractive. The same case with Bangalore. Bangalore has always been cosmopolitan. So again, Whitefield, JP Nagar, Hebbal Yelahanka, we're seeing a lot of traction in Hebbal Yelahanka towards the international airport, Sarjapur Road. So these are still the hot areas in Bangalore. In Pune, it is Wakad and Pimpri Chinchwad. In Delhi, there's Dwarka and Rohini. Ahmedabad, it's Satellite and Bodak Dev Prahalad Nahar. Chennai, it's Madipakam and Perambur. Again, IT hotspot. Perambur is again a IT hotspot near that, so similar to Whitefield and Gachibowli. So these are the localities which you can definitely look at or consider while you are looking at properties in these cities. Now, I'm sure you would definitely would have a list of things to consider while looking at a property or investing in a property in India. So
Rizwan,
basically, these yeah.
sorry, before moving in, do you want to just quickly look at the questions and maybe answer a few of them? I mean, there's two pending, so if you want to just
Okay,
look at those
I'll
before jumping in the webinar, yeah.
yeah, I'll do that. All right. So now I've got from an anonymous attendee. Okay, what do you need to do to be a RERA certified? Does the agent need to complete some course or will the government? Uh, Basically, there is a application form. It's separate for a builder and for an agent as well. So you need to fill up the form. You need to have an entity registered. So for a builder, definitely you need to have an entity registered, and there is an application fee as well, which is not a small amount, and it is state wise. So let's say I'm a builder and I have a project in Bangalore or Karnataka, so I need to have a registration, separate RERA registration for Karnataka. And now later on I'm planning to expand into Telangana, Hyderabad. I am starting a project, so I need to apply for a RERA certificate in Telangana as well. So there is a certain amount of money involved. So that is what it is. There is no course as such, but then since the application fee is huge, the small players will definitely think twice investing that kind of a money. Even for an agent, you can either register yourself as an entity or as an individual. So what happens is, as an entity, obviously the price is high, the application fee is higher, and again you need to have a registered office in that particular state where you are applying for. Same similar case as the builder example which I gave you, Karnataka and Telangana. If again, if you are an individual real estate agent, you will have to. The fee might be less, definitely, but then yes, there is a fee. You need to be, and this fee, whatever application you're registering yourself for, is valid for 5 years. And another thing is, whenever you are announcing, from a builder's perspective, whenever I'm announcing as a builder a new project, I have to mention my RERA number, application number, and also I will have to list down all the agents whom I have tied up with, RERA registered agents whom I have tied up with, who would be the sole representative to sell that property. So a random agent cannot just come and sell you a property built by a brigade or any other builder. So you need to check if the real estate agent is RERA certified first of all, and is he authorized to sell that particular property, right? So I hope that answers the RERA question. Uh, I would go to the next question. How safe is it to invest in a plot or land whose owner wants at least 70% in black, as he can avoid paying tax on capital gains? And what if you can't find any plots or land who only do white transactions? Okay. This is basically, see, there is always a risk involved when there is black and white involved, those kind of transactions. So it is all at your own risk that you need to. We would always suggest to avoid that kind of a transaction, mainly because, see, for people like us who are not, or at least people like you who are not in India, who are based out of another country, it is always good to go by the complete documented one, a clear um, land deed, and everything, because tomorrow something happens, it shouldn't end up that, just to save some money, you end up losing out much bigger chunk in traveling up and down and litigations and all that stuff. So it is always best to avoid that. Try to do it. There are definitely people who are dealing with plots on land which have clear papers with the clear documentation, clear transactions. There are. It's not that gone are the days, because, like I told you, a lot of initiatives by the government, but also there are a lot of restrictions and monitoring as well. So it is always a big risk, and we would definitely recommend you not to even consider looking at investing it through, reducing the price and registering and all this. Okay, I'll go to the next question. Is there a fee-based service that manages the entire process of securing renters, managing rental payment, maintenance, etc., making it low touch for the NRI owner? Yes, there are facility managers. Okay. Uh, Mani, would you want to answer that question?
No, I don't have any inputs on that. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'll just continue. So there are agencies who are, who do this, who take care of your property, and then they rent it out and they collect rent on your behalf. They do the maintenance. There are agencies, yes. Maybe we will share a few. If you are keen, you can connect with us directly. We will try to source out a few if you have, and then share that with you later on, post the call, or no, in a couple of days once you reach out to us. Okay. So another question I have is, apart from RERA number, what are some other things to verify, check before buying an apartment or land? I will come to that. Yes. Apart from RERA
Yeah, I
number,
think.
yeah.
Sorry, just stepping in there. So I think, yeah, that's a good question. I think there are a couple more different angles to that, like the whole process of buying a property in India while being abroad. So maybe we can club together all of that into like one main thing. I'm sure you have that on your agenda. So yeah, you
Yes.
can go ahead.
Have that covered. So that will be that is part of the webinar. We will be covering that later on. So okay. Okay. Now the last question is the data in slides based on NRI bias or Indian bias. Okay, so the data which I showed you in the previous slide is basically, like I mentioned to you, it is a survey which was done. Uh, the survey results is done. That slide particularly shows the results which is done in Indian cities, but then the rest of the slides are from an NRI angle as well. We have seen this feedback which we've collated, and these are from the NRI buyers and Indian buyers as well. So I will, as an extension to this answer, I will take you to this slide, which we where we will discuss. It's almost this transforms into this next slide as well. So we will take it, and you will. This question will be answered better from that angle as well. So I'll just jump into that. So yeah, back to this slide. What do buyers look for in a property? This is basically, like I told you, it's a mix. It's both. We are seeing a lot of Indian buyers also moving to this kind of buying behavior, which we used to see earlier with the NRI buyers, especially in the property neighborhood or locality, safety and security, proximity to schools, open space. So predominantly today's buyer is looking at all these things. The number one or the main factor they look at is before even buying is, yes, after the RERA thing, they look at how reputed is the builder, his legacy. Like if you ask me, in Bangalore or across South India, Brigade, Prestige, Purvankara, L&T, Mahindra, Godrej Properties. These are few of the reputed builders who have quite a lot of track record. They have ongoing projects. So another indicator what people look at is how many projects have completed. Out of that, how many were handed over on time? How many projects are ongoing? What is the phase of each project right now? So these are the few things which you can definitely look at while considering a builder or a property. So if you want, I can repeat again how many projects have been completed by a particular builder, how many projects have been handed over on time by a particular builder, how many projects are ongoing right now, the more the better, and how many projects in what phase of construction are each project in. So these are the things definitely which anybody would look at or consider while looking at a project. And also another thing is reputed builder. Reputed builder means, like I told you, it's the documentation would be completely clear. There will be absolutely no litigation involved with the land or the property, or there will be no dispute. The build quality will be amazing. The fittings, the commitments, everything would be on the dot. Whatever has been mentioned on the brochure or whatever has been agreed upon would be met. That is a surety which you can have in these reputed builders. Another factor, major factor which people look at is the neighborhood or the locality where the property or the project is located. So here in Hyderabad or Bangalore, people look at, depending on multiple reasons. We have been seeing the trend that towards the IT parks or a little away from the IT parks is where major developments are coming up, which have got the all the securities, all the amenities, gated community with all the amenities included, proximity to international schools, world-class colleges, amazing hospitals, etc. So these are all something which people definitely look at and consider while um, you know considering a property or an investing in a property. So again, like I told you, proximity to schools and colleges and hospitals, open space and green cover area around within the community. So this is something which is coming new. People who want to stay a bit away from the city or even within the city limits, they look at how much percentage of the space is allocated to open spaces, be it parks, jogging areas, children's play area. So those kind of things also matter quite a bit for people nowadays, just so that they are in a good environment around and there is positivity all around. So this also is one of the major factors what people look at. Then again, like I told you, the amenities like clubhouse, in-house gym, jogging tracks, or pathways, walkways, in-house supermarket, crash daycare. These things have almost become like a mandate right now by default. Most of these upscale or new communities have all these included with them. Additionally, they have home theaters, they have squash courts, swimming pools, heated pools. So the list is endless. So depending on your requirement, you can definitely consider all this. And then, that's how this is broadly, this is what a typical buyer uh, is looking for in today's real estate market or property market. I'll just quickly check if there's any question come up. I'll just come back to you on that. I've got one question. I'll come back to you. Okay. Now, this is something which we all have FAQs on buying property. Can all NRIs and non-residents buy property in India? Yes, all NRIs can buy property in India, um, given that even people with foreign passport or who have taken up a new the other country passport, as long as they have an OCI card, they can provide that. They can anybody or any NRI can buy property in India. What kind of properties can NRIs buy? Residential and commercial real estate are included. It's like apartment, villa, a retail space or a warehouse space. However, purchase of agricultural land and farmland are not allowed. That is something which the central government and the RBI has not yet allowed for an NRI to buy.
Rizwan, I
Can
had a
profit?
quick question there.
Yeah.
What is considered as the as an agricultural land? Because I find a lot of interest from NRIs
Mhm.
asking this question time and again in the group and in the community, as in like they have an agricultural land somewhere in like found out, and they would like to buy it. uh,
Uh,
if there are ways to buy it, what are they? I think many people don't understand, or they think that they can still buy, they don't think that they cannot buy. So a lot of clarifications required there. What do you think is the right answer to that?
See, how we can buy, I will have to check on that. How an NRI can buy an agricultural land, I'll have to check on that. But why is it made that they cannot buy is predominantly to protect the agricultural land, because we've seen agricultural lands being sold for industries and being flattened for residential developments and all those things. So to promote the agriculture and to secure the farmland. That is why uh, this rule is prevalent. But is there any way to buy? I will have to check and I will have to come back to you on that.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah. So going to the next FAQ, which normally people have: can property be bought through or under company names? You have a business in US or UK. You opened a branch in India. You have a branch in India. Can you buy? No, you cannot buy it for personal use. For official purpose, yes, you want to rent out office space, you want to own an office space or own a guest house, you can, but you can't buy a property in a company's name for your personal purpose. So that is not allowed. And can home loan be availed in India for buying a property? Yes, very much. Home loan can be availed. And like I told you earlier, right now is the best time to pick up home loans, because the starting interest rate is at 6.7 percentage, and it goes right up till 8 to 9 percentage. But still, it was very unheard of even 5, 6 years back. Those days, I think it used to be starting at 8 and going all the way to 11, 12. So that being said, you can avail. The only difference is the loan amount which is approved. It is 80% of the total value of the property which will be approved, and this will be credited directly to the seller or the developer's account. That is, if you're buying a brand new property, there would be banks which are tied up with those builder or realtor. You can approach them. They will be more than happy to approve the loan, and the loan amount will directly go to the account of the developer or the realtor. So it basically is disbursed in phase wises, as in when the builder completes each phase, promised phase, a bulk of amount is paid. That is the arrangement between the bank and the developer, as in the rules laid out by the bank about the disbursement. Now, the repayment of these loans or the EMIs have to be made in INR. It can be made through your NRE account. You can deposit in your NRE account and then transfer it, or a regular monthly thing running, and it will be directed. So you can't pay in your resident country currency. You will have to pay it in INR. These are very broad, very few questions which I have been able to gather, and then I thought I will put it across to you. Very basic, and I think, yeah, we are almost in the and yeah, we almost there. That winds up the session. I'll go back to the questions what are there, and then I'm more than happy to take more questions as well. So I have another question. How common is it that people buy new versus resale apartment, and what are the risks? What is the recommendation? All right, this is a very good question, very valid question, which we've been hearing or we've been asked quite a lot recently. Uh, See, both have its own pros and cons. Okay, a resale apartment definitely is an apartment which is already been occupied. You will have to look at how many years it's how many years old it is, how's the maintenance been, and if it is an apartment, you will have to look at not just your apartment but the entire society, how old it is, how what is the structure, what is the locality, what is the community, how are people there, what is the mix of people, owned and rented, and the basic infrastructure. You need to see how old it is, what is the upkeep, the maintenance, excuse me, the maintenance, has it been regularly maintained well, and also there are quite a lot of things which I would suggest for people like you who are not in India. It would be you would have to really go into the details to check how things have been with the upkeep of the apartment. uh, Predominantly, we would always recommend new apartments, new places, because one is it's a brand new apartment, and if it is a branded or a reputed builder, you can be assured about everything: the build quality, the upkeep, the maintenance. Nobody else would have done it. You, except for the interiors being done, which can be done the way you want it. Other than that, I don't think there would be any other expense you would incur if it's for a brand new apartment. If it's for a resale apartment, you might have to restructure it, you might have to repaint, you might have to dismantle few things. It all depends how you want it to be. So I've seen cases wherein they bought an apartment, they've almost invested the same amount as or even half the amount of what they've invested to buy to refurbish the entire thing. So again, it's completely individual's choice how they want to do it. Another pro positive of a existing or a new property or a second hand property, I would say, is that if it is centrally located and if you're getting it in a good deal, yes, then it definitely makes sense, because the new ones, yes, they might be brand new, but they might be again, location plays a major role. So that is another thing which you might want to consider while looking at a second hand apartment. Okay,
Rizwan, I
yeah.
had a question. This is kind of summing up what a lot of people have been asking in the community. Maybe you kind of touched upon it in between this webinar, but let me just rephrase it. So think of a NRI who's in the United States right now, and he's probably moving back in the next, let's say, 2 years or 3 years, and he wants to buy or invest in a property, let's say an apartment. what is the ideal process to follow, as in like from a timeline perspective? Like when should he be looking at properties? Does he have to visit India and verify things, or can he verify from abroad itself? And if he actually finds a good property and builder, then what is the process about, like how much money he has to transfer? So that whole life cycle of things, if you can maybe just summarize and give a gist of, that'll be nice.
Right. All right. See, like everybody says, if you've decided to buy a property or invest in a property, I would say do it right now, because you know every day things are changing. Things change every day. So what I would suggest or recommend is, if you decided, yes, uh, decide on the place, which state, city, locality. Once that is done, you identify the kind of builder or the area or whoever is there upcoming, whatever is you could look at. And that's where we are trying to bridge this gap to come in, and we are trying to identify at least the top builders from each city, tie up with them, get to make them list their properties in our portal, so that you have quite a fair idea which builder to and what are their properties around the city. And these builders would definitely have multiple projects running across the city, so accordingly you can choose. So that is something which me and Money are right now doing, trying to do, reach out to these builders and make them list their properties with us, so that it helps you guys. So once you identify a builder and a property, what you can do is you can either reach out to them directly, and they most of the big builders we have identified, they have a exclusive team or a person who deals only with NRI customers. So they are adept with the entire procedure, and they will help you out from through the entire booking, and the showcasing. And there are the technology so advanced that they will be more than happy to share the videos if it is a proposed um, project which is coming up, which might take another 2 3 years. The first phase has been announced and booking have opened. They will definitely have a video file of what the property is going to look like, what the community is going to look like, amenities. They will definitely have a video of the show apartment which they have, or a model apartment which they have made. So those things are definitely available. And I have seen quite a lot of times that you really need not even come down to India to see it, or and to finalize it. You can be there, decide on it, pay a booking amount, and then you can register it when you have decided to come back, or when you're coming for a break, or you one of your visits, you can definitely inform them in advance, and you can go register the property, and then you can take it forward from there. So most of the new properties which they announce, they are maybe 1 to 2 years is what the standard time they ask for to complete the project and hand over. So I think you have quite a fair amount of time to have that booking amount paid up, and then visit one of your visits to India. You can go visit them, see it, and there you can inform them that you would like to register also. So I think that should be that process can be followed. Other than that, these guys also have these trade fairs happening throughout the various countries, and then they have the so you can or they have these few representatives visiting few countries, few cities as well, to build up their engagement level with the NRI community. So that is also another opportunity you can explore.
Great, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. I've got another question. What are some good apps to check for properties in demand in India? Okay. There are few, I wouldn't, there are apps and websites, but then unless you know the area or the locality or the city quite well, and the builder, some kind of a local knowledge about or a trend, India trend, market trend, it might be a bit of a challenge to you know identify a good property or demand in India. So, but I can still give you few names. One is 99acres.com. Definitely, that is a go-to website which you can check for properties. But it's got a mix of listings. It is got a listings directly from the realtor. There are listings which are done by the owners for resale. There are listings done by real estate agents. So it's a culmination of all, and it is a bit of a challenge to identify which is a genuine listing or which is not. And another similar portal is magicbricks.com. So again, it's in the similar lines of 99 acres. Again, the similar, they've got a mix of buying, selling, as well as rental properties, both by owners, builders, as well as real estate agents. So these are two of the top. There are a few others, housing.com, there are makan.com, quite a few websites as well. But I would still say a personal research will definitely is called for, other than going by the big names. Even I would, one more point which I would like to add here is, see, big names always, or reputed brand always doesn't mean that they do all big projects. I know a few really good builders or realtors who do small projects of basically one block building with a five-storied or six-storied apartment building, but they have amazing finish, amazing quality, clear documentation, absolutely zero jhanjat kind of a builders are also there. So a fair amount of research will definitely help. Again, like I told you guys earlier, we are trying to bridge that gap. We've ourselves have seen that there's a lot of gap, especially for people like NRIs, and I'm sure Money also has faced that. Being an NRI, and I think he picked up a property, isn't it, Money? If you want to share your
Yeah.
experience here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, these websites or portals that always list these properties are usually going to, put you or throw you down the rabbit hole, because, the Magic Bricks or 99 Acres or Housing, these are all middlemen just trying to, list out properties. And many of these are like very unverified listings. Many of them are, outdated. And my experience has been kind of negative and not much positive. So I can't like really confidently recommend any one property or any one website right now. uh, Usually you have to do your own research outside of these networks anyways, if you are really serious about what you're doing. Like, for example, if you want to go for one particular area, then you have to obviously, reach out to somebody there, or find out through a friend, or you know do all kinds of research possible to find out what's the ground reality there, or maybe a little bit of background check on the builder itself. And these are all best done if you do it yourself or through a trusted partner. So these are the issues that I face by myself. Like, I booked a property in Kochi, and I went for maybe like 15 different properties before I zeroed in on the one that I really liked. And they've my I went through my share of ups and downs and issues as well. So one thing I've learned is that you yourself have to be on the ground, like really getting an idea of what's a pulse out there. Plus you have to get validations from others, uh, from trusted sources if possible, to see what is the the authority of the builder, or whichever entity that you're going to be engaging with. And that's the one issue that I'm trying to solve if possible with the community as well. So we do have a listing on our directory at directory.dir.backtoindia.com, where we're trying to list different properties from different cities. So we're starting off with Bangalore and Hyderabad. We also have a little bit of listings from Delhi, but it's a work in progress, and we're trying to bridge that gap, and at least from an NRI perspective, try to nail that solution. I know it's not easily done. I mean, there are a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that we need to look at, but I'm trying to see if we can crack it from a very MVP kind of a standpoint, so that at least it gives a little bit of traction with whatever number of members that we have in the community. So yeah, it's a big problem for sure, and many people have actually taken a stab at it. I'm in talks with a few insiders as well, like from housing.com and some other portals, to see as to how they went ahead and solved this problem. And my understanding is that there's no one particular formula to solve it. There are these different angles to look into. And as a buyer, always, there are, you don't want somebody to serve you on a platter as to, hey, this is the best solution for you, take it. And nobody likes that, right? We obviously like to do our own research and everything. So I think it's going to be a hybrid approach that way. But you need to have at some point of time a trusted partner, if not a I excuse me, if not an agency, at least somebody you can trust to, like, somebody who has connections with these builders, somebody who can be transparent with the processes and everything. So I think that would kind of take care of 50 to 60% of the problem, and then the rest 40% is again going back to be on you. But I think that's kind of a midway to the solution. So yeah, back to you, Rizwan.
Thanks, Mani. I've got one more question here. What is one metric we can look to choose a good community? In US, we look at school ratings. Okay. Here in India, it's very, very dynamic. It's very different. I would say there are multiple metrics. There is no one metric which you can choose, look at to choose a good community. Again, but then that being said, I would say the current trend which we are seeing is that there's it again depends on what you are. See, if you have school going kids, then definitely you will have to look at a place where there are good schools nearby, international schools nearby. If you have aged parents or folks along with you, staying with you, you'll have to look at somewhere where there is a good hospital around, a good multi-speciality hospital around. uh, and there are also, but the best part here is now new areas within cities are mushrooming up, land which are forming themselves as satellite towns or cities, wherein they have everything, including a small shopping area, a shopping mall which caters to the entire area. There is a super specialty hospital, there is an international school, there are multiple schools actually. So a bit of bits and pieces of this. If you look at Bangalore, all four localities which are listed down are have become like a satellite town or a city within Bangalore itself, a self-sustaining city, I would say. Few have even office spaces within them. So it's literally you can, okay, but not maybe during whether the monsoon or the summer, but there are communities or towns or areas wherein you can literally walk to work. So it completely depends on what you are looking at. But there is something for everyone here in India. Any city you go, there is a place which is an upcoming locality with both residential boom is happening, new projects have been happening. So that is the area which we need to look look forward to or look up to. So that is a good option. And
I'd
that
like to
being,
add something there, Rizwan.
yeah.
Sorry for jumping. See, there is one problem with India. Like, I know where you're coming from with this question. Like, if you go for Zillow or such websites, they do have a absolute proper data, right? So if you just punch in a zip code, you will know the crime rate in that area. You'll know, every other data that you can possibly think of. Of course, the school data and everything. That kind of data, especially like in a consolidated format, is not available in India at the moment. I mean, there are efforts to kind of standardize the process, and there are certain improvements in certain pockets, like Rizwan mentioned. But other than that, we don't have a standardized data, and because of that, this information is not available at this moment, right? So this is a crucial problem. Like, many portals, many startups have actually tried to take a stab at it and find a solution, but again, they fall back because the basic data is not available. But one thing, if I could perhaps think of to recommend you, that you can think of in choosing the right property for you, is perhaps the connectivity factor. I mean, this is a huge thing in India, right? Like Rizin rightly mentioned, whether there's a school nearby, whether there's a hospital nearby, how long is it from the airport? These are things that people usually look forward to, and even builders, for that matter, whenever they advertise a project, they usually, kind of flaunt these metrics, so to speak. Not always are they accurate when you, because they always like shrink the map, and there are ways to kind of manipulate it. But still, if you are looking at maybe one or a few metrics to actually figure out what is the right solution for you, what is the right place for you, maybe connectivity, and how the proximity to different amenities that you might have. So basically designing your lifestyle, and that actually comes back to the original question of how do you want to uh, choose your lifestyle. Do you want to have a reclusive, like far away from the city, kind of a laid back kind of a lifestyle, or do you want to be within the city, enjoying the current amenities, and still be within that cocoon of like a gated community? So these kind of questions will get you some answers on what do you want to choose, and then based on those answers, I believe you can. But that's been my experience. I could be wrong, but just wanted to chip that in there.
Yep. Thanks, Mani. As an extension to that, see what me and Mani we are trying to build here is that we want to be that connect. So what I would definitely recommend all of you is be part of the community, join the group, and ask your queries there. If you find a property, if you find a builder, you can definitely check with us. Put in a word. You can check with us. We are here in India. We can do that. I wouldn't say validation, but we can definitely give you a fair amount of idea that would you want to, is it a trustworthy reliable builder, or is the area where you're planning to, is it an upcoming area, is it, what are the pros, what are the cons, what are the those kind of things. As much as we are able to do, we will try to help you out. So you can definitely reach out to us and connect with us, so that we can in a way try to help you at our best possible way.
Yeah, I just shared the group link in the chat box in Q&A. So if you want to follow and join, feel free to do that. But if you want to, like many of you have my personal number as well. So if you want to message me, that's fine. You can also email at the email ID that's flashed on the screen right now. That's returntoindia.com@gmail.com. So feel free to send your queries there, and we can guide you. What I'm trying to build here is, not a middleman kind of a service, but an actual, being an NRI who's been through this process, I kind of know what are the issues that we'll be facing. So at least try to answer that and be the sort of a a trusted partner, or a trusted guiding sort of a entity there, and that's the only thing. uh, Beyond that, there is some sort of intelligence that has to come from you, so I'm trusting that that will be taken care of. But we're trying to build a network throughout the major cities in India as well, whom we can trust, and most of these are from NRI. So there is a transparent process there. So let's see what we can do there. And I see that there is a lot of potential here, so let's take a stab at it and see what happens. So feel free to join the group. The link is in the Q&A box, so follow it.
Yeah, Mani, I think we'll take the last question. We have a question
Sure,
from
and then
Rahul. I
wrap it up.
think yeah, you will be able to, I guess you will be able to answer this.
Yeah, the question is, let me just go through. Any guidelines on fixed versus variable rates in India? There's not much options for true fixed rates like in the US. Okay, I don't know what exactly you're referring to, Rahul, but if you meant the rates as in like neighborhood rates, or a particular locality has this kind of rate, yes, that's the thing with India, right? I mean, see, if you pick up a locality, let's say even Bangalore, you put in a zip code, you know that there's a five-star property there, like nice gated community, perfect for NRIs. But then just around the corner, you will see maybe a slum, or a really bad area, and that's dichotomy that we have to live with in India, right? So it's very unlike you in the US, where you know that one particular locality is flourished, and there's everything there, and crime rate is low, and you can be so sure to go in there. That's not usually the case with India. And that's the reason why many people these days, many NRIs who are returning back, in my experience and otherwise, have opted for gated communities, because it gives the protection, it gives the immunity, as opposed to being out in the open, or having your own land or having your own house. Not that many people don't do it. Of course, there are people who do it and prefer it actually, but at least most of the people who returned need that kind of immunity, and that's always gotten with a gated community, or a township kind of a property, where everything is available within, and you have like a cocoon where you can be feel safe at least. But it's very different in India. You can't really make the judgment as to whether this place is good or not, based on the zip code or any pockets as such. So that's the reason why we don't have fixed rates. You might find a five-star property in one place, and right across the corner you might find a different kind of property, and the rates will hugely differ. So that's also, I wouldn't say that's a problem with India, and this is maybe, if you play to your advantage, it's a good thing as well. Like you could get a good deal in a place where otherwise it's expensive, or things like that. So it's very vibrant, like everything else in India is. So that's a flavor, I think. So I don't think I have a straight answer to that, Rahul, but
I
that's
think
my viewpoint.
Mani, sorry to interrupt. I think Rahul has mentioned it a bit specific. I think he was speaking about home loan rates from banks, flexible
Okay,
and
got
fixed.
it.
Okay, okay. Rahul, for this also, if you're asking us for a recommendation, what do I go with? Fixed rate or flexi interest rate? Again, the market is quite fluid. See, if 3 years back, if I would have took a fixed rate, I would have not have been able to get the benefit of this 6% or 7% what it has fallen down. But then 2 3 years back, we could never anticipate or even imagine something like COVID would have happened. We would have never imagined. So that is something which we don't know. It is as good as putting your money in a stock trade or a gamble. So again, there are definitely options to choose. I think maybe we can have this covered in one of the financial advice session, right, Mani?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to add there is, not only the flexi rates, but there are a lot of new products being added by banks. Like there's one product by SBI called Maxi Gain, which is again a home loan product, but then it behaves as a savings bank account for you. I mean, the more you pay in, then you can actually withdraw from the same account, and use that to your advantage. So there are a lot of these newer products that I've come across, and quite honestly, I don't even know what these are. I've come across a few, and it's very interesting that there are new things being introduced. So I think it's out there to explore. I mean, the times we are living in is probably the best, because new products are coming in, new offerings, new demand. So this is all great stuff. So um, you know I
Yeah.
can
Another
maybe
point
take this offline as well. Yeah.
Another point, Rahul, see, like I told you, any new property or a brand new ones which you're looking at, like I mentioned earlier, the property developer would have tied up with a few 3 to 4 bankers for home loans. So once you show the interest, you can choose from them, and they themselves will explain, what are the current packages or what are the current deals they have. So you can definitely take it. That being said, like I told you before, a while ago, we can definitely look at discussing this on another session, which is for the financial this thing, or you can reach out to us directly, Mani or myself. We will look out what is there, and then we'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, I think from the questions that I'm getting and from the participation here is, I think we'll have to do another session, Rizwin. Maybe, lean a little bit more towards the processes, perhaps a little bit of the tactical stuff, and maybe even include a little bit of the personal finance aspect to it, and take it as a second session. Yeah, I'll definitely think
We've
about
just
it.
got one last question from J.
Sure, go ahead.
Ray. He's asking, hi, Mani, do we have any NRI society in any Indian city? Okay.
NRI
We
Society.
we don't exclusively have an NRI society in any Indian city, but we do have um, societies where predominantly NRIs invest. So those kind of properties or societies are there in almost every city.
Yeah, and these days a lot of builders, they I've seen them advertise for, specifically for NRIs, saying, such and such properties built for NRIs, bolke. But it's not exclusively for NRIs, but maybe they have that angle built in, maybe because of the amenities that they're throwing into the community. But that's a trend that I'm seeing these days, at least in the way they market. I don't know how real it is, or um, but the way they pitch it, it's meant for NRIs and around that. So that's also something that we have seen. Great. Okay. We just overshot by 12 minutes, but great participation. A lot of questions. Rizwin, did you want something, like any question that you wanted to answer, or anything to end before I wrap up with the takeaways?
I would just like to thank everybody for their time. It was really great of you to take out time and join this. I hope I've been able to add value, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in the group and being active there and asking all your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer all that for you. That's it from my
Yes.
end. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Rizwan. Yeah, like I mentioned, great presentation. A lot of things even I didn't know. So, thanks for that. We are adding a lot of interesting stuff to the group as well. So feel free to join it, like Rizwan mentioned, because that's where we'll be focusing all our efforts from here on. So, city-based groups, properties, different builders that we are connecting with, all of that we're trying to streamline and bring it, make it a easy process for you to choose your investments from, properties from. So make sure you join the group. Not trying to sell it, but this is where I'm trying to focus, because this is entirely different from the main community that we have. I don't want to like pollute that with the real estate related stuff. So the all of that will be happening in the dedicated group that we have. So if you don't have the invite yet, or if you're not on Telegram, if you're on WhatsApp, let me know. I'll think about a workaround, but feel free to join it, and that's where all the action is going to be. But like I mentioned, we might do a second session where I think some of the questions which revolve around personal finance, maybe they needs a little bit more throwing light at. So we'll look into that as well and let you guys know in the next session or when that's going to happen. But otherwise, I think it's a wrap up. Thanks a lot for joining. We'll see you soon. I'll be sending out an email to all the participants with the next steps, and also maybe a recording of this particular session, so you can maybe go refer it and share with your friends. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks, Rizwan.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bunny.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye, bye.